Now, who was really involved in the London riots? Well, we now know it was mostly young people under the age of 20. The Home Office and the Ministry of Justice have published statistics showing the age, ethnicity and background of those involved in the Troubles in August. The national figures reveal 46% of those appearing in court were from black backgrounds, 42% were white, while 12% were from other backgrounds. However, the number of defendants from black backgrounds in Haringey was higher at 55%, while 34% were white. In terms of gang involvement, in London 19% of those arrested were in gangs, though most of those charged over the riots weren't. It was young people who were largely involved in the trouble, most under the age of 20, 26% between just 10 and 17 years old, while 27% were aged 18 to 20. More than a third of those young people aged 10 to 17 had been excluded from school during 2009 and 2010. Of all the young people appearing before the courts, 30% were persistently absent from school. Well, a little earlier I spoke to Camilla Batman-Gelage, who is the founder of the London youth charity Kids Company. I began by asking her if she was pleased that the government has identified who was involved in the riots.
Well, I think it's very brave of the Home Office to put these figures out, because it confirms that the riots of the summer were not about the greedy, they were about the desperation of the needy. I think it's very telling that such large proportions of the people involved came from the most exceptionally vulnerable set of statistics, i.e. school meals, extreme poverty, histories of exclusion, criminal records previously, and I think it's just very interesting. It proves the argument at street level that workers have been having for years, which is that the vulnerable are not being helped and they're becoming desperate.
So how do you think you tackle this then? Is it going into the schools and asking the schools not to exclude people more?
Well, I think you have to be more robust than that, and the government have started having the correct narratives. It's about robustly intervening in the lives of the most vulnerable, because many of these people lack housing, they lack appropriate levels of education, they often don't have any food during the riots, just as much food as trainers was stolen, but that didn't really come out in the media narrative. So if you really want to solve the problem, you have to go to the source. Enough of inquiries, enough of statistics. Let's just do the real job of helping these people come out of the desperate states they're in.
I mean, we're facing a lot of problems at the moment, aren't they, with all the austerity measures that the country is facing. How do you help these people? How do we do it? Where do you get the money from? How are these people really going to be helped?
Well, what I want to tell you is that the amount the riots cost us, both in courts and in repairs and in insurance, we could have solved the problem of these families had we started working with them when we should have. The difficulty in this country is that we only mobilize when there is extreme threat. And actually what we need to do is do proper prevention work with the most vulnerable children. It's not like we don't know who they are. We all know who they are. In effect, at the moment, there are 1 in 3 children in the classrooms across Britain who are presenting with extreme vulnerability. All the schools know, so we just need to deliver the help where it's needed and stop fluffing around.
Camilla Batman-Gelage speaking to me a little earlier on. Well, the full data on the profile of those rioters is all available up on our website. Just go to itv.com/London. The RMT said